Good morning all, and I'm Apurop Chakraborty, Match Commissioner, All India Football Federation, who have officiated more than 140 matches. But today I would take an opportunity to host on behalf of Pro India, which presents the Captain Speaks. And I'm fortunate to be a part of Baby League Kolkata since 2018, and I'm involved in organizing in 2 consecutive years. My sincere thanks to AIFF for providing me with this wonderful opportunity to learn from grassroots development. Pro India is organizing a session, and the key speakers of which are Mr. Deepak Nayak, the manager grassroots of All India Football Federation. And we are grateful to you, sir, for joining, for giving us an opportunity to interact with you. And today the topic name is the success story of the Golden Baby League. And I think you have done a wonderful job, sir, along with your team.
All right, thank you, Apurop. Really appreciate this. First of all, again, I wanted to reiterate that, this kind of platform where you have got all the league operators on the same page, on the same platform is something that we really, really wanted. If possible, we would have really wanted all the league operators from the country to come on the same platform so that we can learn from each other, the partners in development. And when we're talking about a fantastic job that we have been doing since the last 2 years, Ushnish in West Bengal has been a huge support, as everyone's aware that he had done fantastic in the past 2 years, supporting the league operators, creating lots of moments. One of the moments, to give an example, was the India-Bangladesh match where we got league operator kids from different leagues. Sometimes I think some kids came all the way from Darjeeling as well to be part of it. So he's a very passionate man, and he did fantastic. But the most important work done was by the league operators. We can make handbook, we can make app, but it's you guys who actually organize games, organize football for the children. And without your contribution, we could not have done it. Nothing, baby leagues would have still been an idea, and we would have never conceptualized the idea. We could have never started the idea, and we could have never grown the idea. And without you guys, we cannot continue to grow the numbers and improve the quality and experience of the children. So again, thank you very much. How I see it is that we are all part of the team, and I just happen to be in a position where maybe I can help you and serve you so that you can create a great environment for the kids.
We would also like to make us familiar. Yes, we know about Baby League, the Golden Baby League concept, but for the future projects and everything, because we will be on broadcasting this. Mm-hmm. So I request you to elaborate what the concept and vision of Golden Baby League.
Of course. So let me start with an introduction of the Golden Baby Leagues. Let me just Can you see the screen?
Yeah, we can.
Okay, fantastic. So, this is obviously the league operators know, and they know the importance of what we're trying to do in the Golden Baby Leagues. But it's always important to keep thinking about what our original vision is, because sometimes in the mix of things our goal can get lost. So I'm just going to reiterate, not just for the people who will be watching it later, but even for ourselves, AIFF and the team, as to what are we actually trying to do with the Golden Baby Leagues. So again, what is the Golden Baby Leagues? To be very simple, it is a player development initiative, which is, this point is very key. It's a player development initiative for children aged under 6 to under 12. We see this age group, which is under 6 to under 12, as the golden age of learning, where children can have fun, they can make friends. The most important thing is that they can learn. At this age, they're almost like a sponge for learning, not just football, but a lot of to grow physically, to learn a lot of important values like discipline, honesty, teamwork, etc., communication, etc. So we believe it's very important that we make a real difference at this particular age group. As everyone's aware, in the past, in the past, we've not done a lot of AIFF activities except some festivals that we used to do. But then we realized that we have to do something long term, where the children are engaged for a longer period. And that's how we came up with the AIFF Golden Baby Leagues, where we believe that children, just by playing games, will improve. And hence, they will keep playing football because they fall in love with the game. And by the time they reach the under 13, which is a sub-junior youth league, and the junior youth league and the elite youth league, they already have a lot of football games under their belt before they even start playing the sub-junior leagues. And the quality of the boys as well as the girls football players will be better. It is aimed at providing access of football to all children, irrespective of background. I think Bengal is a fantastic example, where different kinds of baby leagues are happening, different kinds of communities. You have, an example could be Islampur, which is, in a way, challenged area, where I think Mr. Aminul Islam had done a fantastic job in having baby leagues, golden baby leagues for so many age groups. One of the highest numbers that has come. And then we have Kolkata, then we have Hooghly. Obviously in West Bengal, we also had the ISL Children's League. So a lot of operators got together. Some kids are paying and playing in different parts of India, like Bangalore. Children in the cities are paying almost 4,500 rupees per player and playing. And some players who cannot afford to play, there are still opportunities for them. As we see in West Bengal, most of the league operators do not charge. So that way, we are giving opportunities to different kinds of players. What is unique about baby leagues is that it's not about the girls, it's not about the boys, but it's also about the girls. There are lots of leagues which are mixed gender. There are some leagues which are even for girls. I think last year we had one in West Bengal, we had one in last year, and this year we had one in Punjab, YSV Roopka Kala. So we have also started a lot of girls baby leagues coming up, and this is something that we look forward to. So simple concept, but we can have football for children for different parts of the country, different regions, different background, either gender, girls or boys can play, irrespective of how much, what background you come from. Are you rich? Are you poor? Are you from middle class? Everyone can play. So this is what we are trying to do with the Golden Baby Leagues. The third most important thing that we're trying to do is that we as AIFF recognize that although we are in a position to govern football, however, we have to get all the stakeholders with us and move together in one direction. And when we're talking about community football, district football, school football, the most important stakeholder, apart from the parents, are the people who are working in the grassroots. And this is an opportunity which we gave to the league operators and said, why don't you organize it? Because as AIFF, if we have to look after the huge country like India, where has more than 36 different federations, member associations, it will be very difficult for us to organize it. It's even difficult for the states sometimes to organize it. As you aware, Meghalaya is the only state association who organize the Meghalaya Baby League, and rest of the states, they organize baby leagues, or they give access to league operators to organize baby leagues. this is what we wanted to do. That the league operators who are actually working on the ground, they are enabled and they get recognition for the work that they were actually already doing, but we're just giving them a way to recognize. What is the concept? Why do we want to do this? We have to understand the game, and the player comes first. Everything else comes second. It's not about winning matches. It's not about something else. It's the game and the player. That is very important. That the players have fun, they learn, they make friends, and eventually while playing games, they will learn, they will develop. We have to catch them young and make them part of the growing strong football culture. The football in the country is already growing, as everyone's aware. Earlier we used to have a lot of senior competitions, but now we have youth competitions. We have NFCs, the National Football Championships as well. Approve, you are a part of a lot of these matches and tournaments. So we wanted the matches to start at even a younger age, and that's the concept of the Golden Baby. Children get exposure to real competition. They understand what is a match. It's not just that they've been trained in football, but they understand, okay, there are 2 goals and we have to play, we have to try to win. Not put the emphasis on winning at this particular age, but we still want them to get introduced to the game concept of football. So by the time they are 14, they have a lot of matches under their belt, and they have significantly improved as to what the current system that we have, where children start playing at the age of 12, 13, or they start getting competitive games at the age of 12, 13, 14, and they're probably not as developed as compared to a player who's probably started playing at the age of 6, 7, 8. And the research, the concept of the baby leagues is from a lot of research that was done in South American countries as to how do they produce world-class players even in the absence of infrastructure. Their society, their infrastructure is very similar to what we have in India, and we realized that this is what is one of the key concepts is in countries like Uruguay, where they have something called baby football, and children from the age of 6 start playing this, and that's how they develop. That's why we have Uruguay as one of the best countries in football right now for a very long time. And we said, okay, let's try that, and let's try to learn from their experience and try to develop world-class players ourselves, boys and girls both. This I'm not going to get into why should we do the baby leagues. I think most of the operators know it's easy to organize and operate. Some people might think differently. It has various formats and surfaces. You can have a 3v3, 4v5, 4v4, 5v5, all the way to 7v7, 9v9, depending which is age appropriate development. And you can also play in various surfaces. In the 3rd season, we are also going to introduce the format of futsal, where you can also play it on basketball courts if you don't have natural grass or artificial turf. So you can also introduce baby leagues on beaches if you want. It's cost effective, it's not very expensive, very attractive engagement model for young players. Even the parents, actually, even the coaches, they know that, this is an AFF Golden Baby Leagues, it's a recognized baby league that's happening. It must be something good, and I want to be part of it. We want to build a similar experience as the football-rich countries. When I say football-rich, like developed countries like Uruguay, Brazil, Argentina, and we keep the game and the player at the center of everything. Every day the players come, they look forward to the day of when the leagues happen, usually over the weekends, and they come, they enjoy, they have fun, they interact with opponents, they interact with their own team, they have a great day of football, and they go back home and they look forward to another weekend. So this is what the baby leagues is about.
The state association, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right. So all the state associations, like why are it not involved in the baby league as desired? Because as you mentioned about Meghalaya, so why not the other state associations taking that initiative to take this forward?
So, see, we knew about this anyway. If you think about it, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, let's say, there was no concept of the baby leagues. Was there anything happening for children at the age of under 6 to under 12?
No.
Long term, festivals used to happen, festivals used to happen, but that's about it. 1 day, 2 days of engagement, etc. As you're aware, the Mission 11 million happened because of the FIFA Under 17 World Cup for boys. I think you must have been part of it as well.
Yeah.
So those kind of things happen. But when you're talking about long-term engagement, that didn't happen. And at AIFF, we recognize that the importance of the role of AIFF is very important, and the role of the state association is also very important. However, every governing body has to look at priorities, and we said, okay, we can't do it. The AIFF cannot run this all over the country. Can the states do it? And to get, as you're aware, we have more than 30, 35, 36 to be exact, I think, member associations, and sometimes their stages of development are very different. West Bengal, I would say, is an advanced football state, same like Kerala or maybe even Maharashtra, let's say, but some states are slightly behind as well, and we can't ask every state association to do this and say, okay, let's start something what Meghalaya Football Association is doing, that you start the baby league. We said anybody can do it, which means an organization can do it. If an organization is not affiliated with the state association, they can also do it. If it's an individual, if it's a businessman, he can also do it. He or she can also do it. Parents can do it. Anybody can do it. It doesn't have to be on a large scale. If they have a small playground and they want to organize something like this for the children, they can do it as well. So we realize that the most important stakeholder, if you're talking about grassroots football, are actually people working in the grassroots. Now, obviously, all of this could not have happened without the support of the state association, because at the end of the day, the football activities in a particular state is governed by the state association. The same way, we are the governing body for football in the country. So the state associations are responsible for it. Now, Meghalaya, if you're comparing Meghalaya and let's say West Bengal, Meghalaya obviously has a different approach where they said, okay, we organize the Golden Baby Leagues and we keep a certain standard and we make it one of the biggest baby leagues in the country. And that's how they did a fantastic work in Shillong, where they had also planned to move to different parts of Meghalaya. There are 4-5 different parts. So they wanted to move out to there. In the first year, they did not have any private operator. And in the second season, they had one operator, which was Lutscape. And then ISL obviously came in and they organized baby leagues for them. Baby leagues, the ISL Children's League or the Baby Leagues, which is ISL Children's League is also part of the Baby League in Shillong and Lutscape. So that's how the private operators also got it. Now, the story of West Bengal is slightly different. Although you might say that, okay, maybe there was no direct and active support from Indian Football Association, which I do not know. But to think of it, West Bengal has always been on the top since the past 2 years. And, it's that itself is a reflection of the support of the state association, I would say. You think of some states where baby leagues have not even started yet. I'll show you the states later on where the baby leagues have been happened and have still not happened, although it's a very simple concept. So obviously the support of the state association is very important, because all the league operators your forms, the league operator request form, they go to the states approve it. We don't have to approve it. The AFF doesn't approve. We don't need to approve it. We just need information that, okay, we are organizing something like this. That's all. We don't need to approve your baby leagues. But think about it, the highest number for last year was West Bengal and Tamil Nadu. So I believe the league operators might think that, okay, we probably need more active support. And this is a conversation for the league operators, the stakeholders, and the state to talk about. But I do not think that states have been completely inactive. Sometimes they have just been supportive and saying, we will support the league operators and we won't organize with us. So, before we started the Golden Baby Leagues in the first year, Apurv, can you see the screen?
Yes, I can.
Okay, great. So before we started the the Baby Leagues in the first year, we used to call it the Baby Leagues in the first year. So, we had certain objectives as to, what kind of impact that we want to make. Because, we need to have a plan, not just, do it very wildly as, okay, let's start something. No, we have to have a plan, and we always have to measure what kind of impact that we want to make in the country and in the community. And then we have to always check every year on year, are we actually making a difference? So when Richard Hood, who in a way you can call him the father of baby leagues, he conceptualized the idea of the baby leagues and started this. When we started, we had 5 impacts that what we wanted to have in the country. What kind of impacts that we want to make. The first impact is that we start early. We, like I discussed before, the research has found that if the children start early, that they have a better chance of growing into far better footballers than we currently have in the country. So we should start early at the age of under 6 to under 12, so that their brain is developed, their physical skills, their football skills are developed, their neural connection has been made in their body. They have developed physically, and not just physically, but they have also developed emotionally. Okay, so this was what we wanted to do, and that's why we said, okay, let's start early. Right, so this is what we were talking about. We had more than 21,000 kids last year, and we had more than 34,000 kids this year. And you see, we have engaged all level of age groups last year. Last year, in the first season, we had allowed age groups from under 6 all the way to under 13, under 14. Some of the kids under 14 also played, and the app allowed under 14 kids also. This year, we have made it very specific, so there were no under 13, under 14 competitions, because we believe we already have the AFF youth leagues which are happening. So we're very specific to under 6 to under 12. But in spite of that, the numbers have increased. There's a good increase of kids at the age of under 6, under 8, under 10, and under 12. So, if you see under 12, we have more than 10,000 kids playing Golden Baby Leagues. But at the same time, under 6, we have more than 3,000 kids starting. And this is what we wanted. And this is how we also, through the handbook, encouraged a lot of league operators to ask the children to engage the children from a very early stage. So this is very good to see, and we hope that we can see even better numbers next year. The impact too was that we wanted to have better players coming through our system, which means that by the time the children reach the under 13 or the sub-junior AFF youth leagues or the junior youth leagues, the children are already ready for such kind of competition because they have played a lot of games. I just wanted to share a small story of one particularly, but I'm sure that we will have stories like that in West Bengal, in different parts of the country as well. These are 6 kids who were part of the Young Legends League, which was based in Mizoram, Champai. This is one of the first baby leagues that happened in the country. They started this concept even before we started before AIFF started, the concept of the baby leagues 2 years ago, all these 6 kids are playing in some academy. I'm talking about top academies in the country. Some of them are playing for Baichung Bhutia Football School. Some of them are training with the Bangalore FC. I think there's one more academy that one of the kid has been selected in. So, and these children have graduated from the Young Legends League, which is part of the Golden Baby Leagues. So, this is what we wanted. And now we want these kids to slowly move to the youth stages of sub-junior, junior, elite, and hopefully make it to the senior, and hopefully represent the country one day as well. Now, these kids is just an example that I wanted to share, because again, these are facts. But I am sure that there will be more children coming up in the future. Maybe there are more children right now. What we're doing as AIFF is trying to integrate the Golden Baby Leagues information with the CRS and CMS information that we have for the AIFF competition. So that way, we will also have more data as to how many children are actually graduating from the AIFF Golden Baby Leagues to the AIFF Youth League for boys as well as girls in the future. This is another story of a kid again from the Young Legends League. He started playing in the Young Legends League, but after 1 or 2 years, he represented Bangalore FC. This is a picture of, you must have heard of this tournament called the Next Gen Cup. And here you have this kid who is from a remote location in Champai in Mizoram, and he's traveled all the way to Bangalore to play for Bangalore FC, and then to Mumbai, and he plays with some of the best kids in the world. They're playing this particular match. Photo is taken from the Next Gen Cup, in which the Bangalore FC team is actually playing with the Manchester United youth team. So, it's a big opportunity. It's a big story for this particular kid. And we want more opportunities like this to happen from different parts of the country. And we want more kids to come from the youth, from the baby leagues, and start playing in the youth. So that's our impact. Number 2. Shift the focus and priority from festivals to regular engagement of boys and girls. More games, not just festival, but we give them more games. We make the tournament or the league duration for longer. It is community driven. We try to reach more numbers. We try to reach more matches. We try to have more teams. So let's see how the impact has been so far. So this is the data for 2018 and 19 and 19-20, and let's compare the numbers and see how it happens. In the first year, we were able to reach out to 11 states, and in the second, we were able to reach out to 21. League operators in the first season, it was the 83. This year, we have reached more than 100 league operators, 139 to be exact, but a lot of league operators, more than 30 league operators, could not conduct or complete their leagues because of various reasons. It was Jammu Kashmir had an issue a couple of months ago. We have the current lockdown. Weather was also a problem in some parts of the country. But despite that, we were able to register more than 34,000 kids in the league as compared to 21,000. Another impact that we had, because we want every aspect of every kind of player to be part of this league, and we were encouraging a lot of girl players as well. So in the first season, we had around 6% of girls playing in the league, which is less than 2,000, I think around 1,300 or something like that. In the second season, we had more than 3,500 girls playing, which was again a good achievement from the league operators, where the number is very clear that the percentage has already doubled. The number of girls playing the leagues have also doubled. There is a change in the mindset of the league operators, of the coaches, of the parents, that girls and boys can play together and against each other. And we can see the numbers are there. And we hope we can see even bigger numbers next year. The teams, in the first season, we had roughly 2,000 teams. And in the second season, we had double the number, which is 4,000 teams. And this is the most important impact, that in 2018-19, about roughly 12,000 matches were conducted. At the end, we want children to play more matches so that they can develop. And you can see the number is almost more than double in the second season, where we reached out to 31,000, almost 32,000 matches across the country. And this is what I was going to talk to you about the states. In the first season, as you see that there's, although a lot of states, including West Bengal, were part of the baby leagues. However, in the next year, we were able to reach out to more states. And again, West Bengal has done IFA, the league operators, everyone's done a fantastic job in conducting the baby leagues, in reaching out not just to more states, but also more districts within the states. I again wanted to appreciate the good work that Ushnish has done in spreading this to various parts of West Bengal. I personally believe that without his contribution, the story could have been slightly different. They've invested in the baby leagues. He's taken a personal interest in the league operators and even how they conducted. He's taken personal responsibility for a lot of key events like the India-Bangladesh match, where the kids came from different parts of West Bengal to be part of that match, to be as escorts and also watch the match. So that was fantastic. So the role of the development office is also very important. The fourth impact was easy and appealing to operate. This is something that we would want the league operators. I want feedback from you. But was it easy and appealing to operate from the league operators? So we actually want stories from you now. So I'm not going to say much. The only thing I'm going to add is that we have tried to make it as easy as possible so that the league operators operate it. We have made the handbook and we keep changing it every year depending on the feedback from the league operators. So it is easier for you to operate, and even all the league management is done through the Baby Leagues app, which is also fairly easy to operate. We are trying to make it better, but the whole league management, reporting, registration of the players has become so easy for the league operators. Imagine if the app is not there, then imagine doing all the paperwork, sending an email to AIFF, registering taking all the photos of the kids, registering the documents. It would have been so difficult. But the app has made it very easy for the league operators to operate, register the players, the teams, the matches, create the fixtures, display it to the team managers. So it's been very effective. But we would like to, after this session, maybe we can always give feedback. Was it easy for you to operate on that? The fifth impact that we had we wanted to have is in the community. The community of baby leagues is not just the league operator, it's also the team managers, it's also the coaches, it's also the league officials, the groundsmen, the parents, the volunteers who come, the local clubs who are part of the baby leagues, the fans, maybe if there are some people, maybe older brothers and sisters, younger brothers and sisters of the players, the district associations. So was there an impact? Instead of again giving you facts, I thought maybe I could just share one nice video that we had from Ahmedabad, the Ahmedabad Golden Baby League, which was organized by IndiFoot. The video more or less summarizes what kind of impact did it have in the community in Ahmedabad. And this is how we are going to have a culture of not just football but sports also. The culture will build from the community. And I'm sure where, although it's a video from Ahmedabad, I'm sorry, I would have loved to show a video from a good quality video from Bengal next time. And I appreciate a video from West Bengal if somebody has it. I don't have it, that's why I shared Ahmedabad one. But I'm sure when the video, any of the baby league operators could have really related to the video, because the same thing happens in your community as well. It could be in Kolkata, it could be in Hooghly, it could be in Kalimpong, it could be any Krishnanagar, Nadia, Islampur. It's the same. You have the kids, you have the parents, you have the coaches, you have the league operators, you have people from the community coming together. Based on the couple of questions that we had asked the league operators, we made a small summary of what was the kind of impact that it had on your community. I'm just going to share a small list of things that how the Baby League impacted a particular league operators community as well. So what were the key takeaways? For the first time, a lot of kids were touching the ball, especially children under 6, under 7. They were seeing football for the first time. They were picking up the game. The players improved in the duration of the league itself. The duration could have been 1 month, it could have been 3 months, but this is not AIFF telling. This is what the league operators have shared through the form which was sent to all the league operators. Many players improved just by playing in the league. The girls played a lot of skillful and attractive football. I'm sure almost all the leagues that happen in West Bengal, you had a couple of girls, maybe a lot of girls playing in the Golden Baby Leagues, and I'm sure you must have seen good skills from the girls as well. Enthusiasm, support from the parents was very important. Some parents also played an active role in organizing the Baby Leagues. Few kids, I think this is an example from Islampur, if I'm not wrong. So I was very happy to read this when this was shared, that some kids actually joined the school so that because their school team was playing in the Baby League. So this is very. I was very happy to see that for some of the kids, they're actually going back to school. And the Baby Leagues is one of the reasons they want to go back. And the kids are actually picking up studies. I was very happy to see this. Opportunities for children from minorities community. They could be from different religion. They could be from different backgrounds. This is a story of all places, not just West Bengal. It could be, let's say, Bangalore. It could be Mumbai. Children from various backgrounds came together. Gujarat's also a very good example. They got together on the field, irrespective of what kind of families, what kind of background, what kind of religion that they come from. Islampur Baby League is also another great example in this case. Kids learning values of team spirit, sportsmanship, fair play, and respect. This is especially when the league operators emphasize the children's code, the guardian's code, which is there. The referees also educate the children about certain rules. The team manager, I think Mr. Sarkar mentioned, or Mr. Islam mentioned, Samsul Alam mentioned that it's very important that the kids are learning these values, and that's why it's very important that the team managers and the coaches are well educated. These kids are not the same age as adults, and they should be coached differently, not the same way as adults are coached. Players are scouted and playing for top clubs and academies. I've already shared some examples with you. It has also changed the mindset of guardians, and it's created a culture of sports in the community. It's created new coaching centers and academies. So some of the league operators have also recognized that this is an opportunity where I can actually start a coaching center or an academy at the grassroots level for the children. It's created opportunity for local businesses, and it's given employment for youngsters. Sometimes they're volunteers, sometimes they're referees, sometimes they're team coaches, and they are paid by the school teams or the academy teams. And also brings communal peace and harmony, because sports is a great leveler. Everyone's coming on watching the day. People from various backgrounds are coming, and they're watching the matches. So the community is getting together, and these are kids, these are parents, these are other stakeholders of various backgrounds, and maybe differences in religion, etc. But everyone is coming on the pitch and watching as everybody else. and being a sport for all. This is at the end what we want. We also want for people to recognize that football, because in the nature of football, it's it's very easy to organize. As kids, everyone, I'm sure everyone has played it. You put 2 bricks here, you put 2 bricks there, maybe you put some chappals or shoes around. That's the whole area that is made, and you start taking the ball. It's not so expensive to organize. It should be a sport, irrespective if it's Kerala, if it's Jammu Kashmir, if it's Ahmedabad, Maharashtra, if it's the Northeast, if it's West Bengal. Anybody can play wherever they are. This is what we want people to recognize, and this is some of the feedback that has been given by the league operators, and some of them, these feedback are from league operators who are present here. So we're very happy to see that the impact of or the success of the baby leagues is not just about football, but it is also something which is beyond football. So I would say, in the long term, obviously the true success of baby leagues is when kids who are playing in your leagues actually go on to play in the youth leagues, the senior club competitions, and hopefully for the national team one day. But we will have to be patient. We will have to wait 10-15 years for that. But we are very happy to see that the kids are developing, and it is also making a major impact in the community. And for now, I think this is the success story of the approach. So in the first season, we wanted to start with a basic of 14 matches, which was the requirement. Let the children play just 14 matches, which is 2 legs of 8 teams. Every team playing 7 matches, 7 teams, and that's 2 rounds of round robin. The case was always that we wanted the number of matches to increase, because the world standard is that we want to reach about 35 to 40 matches per team, per player. They should be playing around that number of matches. And that's why we thought, okay, let's not from 14, let's not jump to 40, but at least increase the matches to by 10 matches, and let every team aspire for more number of matches. And that's why we said, okay, 24 matches to get subsidy. A league operator could have, who doesn't want subsidy, can still have organized any other way. Maybe 1 leg also if they wanted, no problem. But if you want to get subsidy, then you need to organize 24 matches, which usually was about 3 legs. Now, that was the reason behind it, that we want the children to eventually play more matches, so that even our children reach the world standard. That's very important. Because at the end, again, I'll go back to the first slide. Our first most important initiative, why we've done this, is that it is a player development initiative. Everything else comes later. The players need to develop to the system, and players will only develop if they play more matches. And if you've seen the differences of matches that I shared in the presentation, in the first year we had 12,000 matches organized in India, and in the next season I think we had crossed about 31,000 matches, which is a huge difference in the number of matches. So this is where we want to go. However, we did realize that not all the league operators are perhaps in a position to do something like this. So in the third season, this is not just Mr. Day, but some of the other operators have also given us feedback that engaging the children for a long period becomes very difficult. 24 matches become very difficult. So we in the third season, you are going to see a few changes to the requirements. Although this year we are not going to give any subsidy. I hope this is not news for anyone, but we're not going to give subsidy because it's most likely in the first year it was a FIFA funded program. The second year also we used the money from the FIFA Forward program and provided subsidy. But in the third season we may not be able to, because the subsidy, the amount that we have used was from the first year itself, and we used that amount in the second year. and we don't know if we can use the amount for the third year. So the amount was only the funds were in a way limited, and we're not going to have future funds. So we're not going to have subsidy. Plus, we want league operators to think of new ways of managing the leagues on their own. So realizing that, we have, just to give you a small example, we have made 3 categories of baby leagues. We could call it something else, maybe 1 star, 2 star, 3 star. And the easiest category will be where you just need to operate for one age category. You can choose under 6 to under 12, any one. You need to have 8 teams and just 1 round of round robin, 1 leg, that's it. And the highest category could be maybe 3 age categories, same 8 teams in each age category, and maybe 21 matches per team. So, and then the middle one will be maybe 2 age categories and 14 matches. So we have made categories, and we are giving the freedom to the league operator. You decide, if you can have one major baby league, or you want to do a lot of, maybe you want to do one good baby league, and you want to go to the regional places and have these small baby leagues of 7 matches per team, etc. So this year we are also going to become flexible that way, and give you the option, the flexibility of organizing the baby league like you want. So that feedback has been taken, Mr. Dev, and we have already worked on the feedback. And in the 3rd season, which we will launch very soon, you will be able to see a lot of flexibility in the number of matches.
Thank you so much. I think the number of participation will increase if we are flexible about it. And any instruction or guidelines about after COVID or like the pandemic situation? Obviously, we have to maintain safety measures as well. So, any particular thing that we require to maintain certain standards? So, any such guidelines will be provided for the operators?
Yes, the guidelines will be standard for everyone. Obviously, because we are associated with grassroots football, which is children's football. It is very important that we as guardians take full responsibility of the health of the children, because the children cannot decide for themselves. It's the parents and the league operators and the coaches who can decide for the children. So we have to take the big responsibility of the safety of the children, especially in this scenario. And it may be a couple of days or months before children's football can start, and hence golden baby leagues can start in India and in the community. But when it starts, apart from giving guidelines, the regular guidelines that we give through the handbook, I'm sure we will have basic guidelines that the league operators can follow to ensure the safety of the children, especially in this situation. So I'm sure we will do that. We've not come up with it yet. I think most likely we're going to start with senior teams, football competition and training. But as and when we launch we start the golden baby leagues, where league operators can actually organize it on the ground, I'm sure we will come up with guidelines.